It's a new era for Spartanburg County. Sheriff Bill Ryan is entering his first full week on the job as the county's top cop. We were there as he was sworn in on Friday. Ryan takes over after the previous sheriff, Chuck Wright, resigned and pleaded guilty to federal charges in abusing his power in office. In an exclusive interview, our Justin Dougherty sat down with Sheriff Ryan and several members of his new command staff.
And the focus, their mission on how they plan to lead the county forward and restore trust in the community.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Sheriff.
History in Spartanburg County. For the first time in 20 years, the county has a new sheriff. Bill Ryan sworn into office inside the county courthouse. You said that your name's not going to go on the marquee out front. You said this is the people's office.
That's correct.
What does that mean?
It's the people's office. You have to understand that we serve the people of Spartanburg County. Not only that, we serve everybody who travels into this county on a daily basis. Anybody that needs the Spartanburg County Sheriff's Office, we're there to serve them. It should never be branded as a department head's office in any way, shape, or form. It's not about a title. It's not about a position. This is about a calling. This is about going from having a servant's heart to serve others to becoming a servant leader and having that opportunity to get those people around you that have that same mentality, that have that same thought process, that servant leadership is the most important thing. And our job as a staff, as a command staff, is to pour into those younger officers so they understand that that servant's heart has to turn into that servant leadership.
Ryan surrounding himself with a combined 350 years of law enforcement experience. That includes a familiar face to voters, Captain of Special Operations, Robert Cheeks. Some people may be surprised to see you sitting next to him. You guys were opponents during the primary election. What did you learn about him on the campaign trail through that experience, knowing that you wanted to stick around and serve on his administration?
So the first time we met, it was a chance encounter, and we had our first campaign event together at the Peach Blossom, and we got done, and we both got in the truck and got ready to leave, and the biggest thing that stood out to me, I was like, you know, he's all right with me. We had a few minutes of conversation, and you get to meet the person behind the badge, behind the name, and biggest thing for me in my life is be connected to people who are truly intentional in the work they do and the lives that they live, and I felt that from him the first time I met him, so it was important for me to be here.
You're one of the only ones who had served under the previous administration sitting with us right now. Sheriff Ryan has mentioned healing process. Healing started when he was elected. What does healing look like for you from your perspective, and for other deputies who have served under the previous administration now going to be serving under Sheriff Ryan?
I think one of the biggest things to understand is that we have a sheriff that is in full support of our deputies, not only our deputies, but our spouses, our families, and understanding that, you know, going forward, we'll have something that we haven't had in the past. And even as we go forward in the months and years to come, that he believes in us, believes in the future of the office, and wants all of us to be the best we can for this entire county.
Ryan's command staff also includes 2 chief deputies, a first for the county: Operations Chief Kevin Powers and Administrative Chief Bobby Welburn. Another first for the county, a woman serving on command staff. Captain Michelle Johnson joins the office after serving as a special agent with the State Law Enforcement Division. What was it about Captain Johnson? You said, I need her.
She's the shining example to so many young people out there that accepting your circumstances in life is, if you choose to accept your circumstances, you're the only person in control of changing your circumstances. And she has been a lot of firsts in her life, and it just meant so much to me. I knew I had to have her. I'm just glad she said yes.
I don't take it lightly, not by any means. However, I come from a background of being first and breaking generational curses and doing those things. So this is not, it's different water, but not a different experience.
What can the community expect from you and that connection that you want to have with them?
One, I don't think you'll find anyone that's going to work harder in this community than me. I've always done it because I believe it's necessary. I think a lot of people get into law enforcement to make People want to, be heroes. They want to make changes. They want to do a lot of things. For me, even as a young person, I've always been passionate about repairing some of the frayed relationships between law enforcement and the community. Because even growing up, I didn't see law enforcement in a certain light. So I've always wanted to be the change and the connector that creates, that type of change in our community.
Chief Powers, Sheriff Ryan's talked a lot about the destination. He wants to set the destination. He wants to surround himself with people to help him reach that destination. The Sheriff's Office as a whole. What do you want the community to know about that destination that Sheriff Ryan is setting in place that you will help him achieve?
Transparency and being as one with the community. One thing I loved about the sheriff when he spoke about collective leadership through servant leaders. I mean, his whole command staff, I got to know some of them, and I'm going to get to know more, the new ones better, but it's just, we all have that servant leader persona about each other, and the community comes first. And that's what the sheriff's, I believe, is the mission, is to bridge that gap between the community and law enforcement.
What's the number one thing you want the people of Spartanburg County to understand about Sheriff Ryan, about this command staff, about the future of Spartanburg County Sheriff's Office?
I think that they can believe Bill, Sheriff Ryan, when he says that they are the most important thing, not us. And even the deputies themselves, they are what is going to make the department.
When you were assembling your command staff, what was the number one thing you wanted to keep in mind about every individual that you have surrounding you?
Oh, they bought in on my vision. Simple as that. I mean, just really simple as that. My ultimate vision, my vision's simple. It's a very simple vision that, and there's a path to getting there, but I want this agency to be the flag bearer. You've heard me say it over and over and over again. I want us to be the flag bearer. I want us to be what every other agency looks at and says, man, how did they get there? We want to go see them. We want to see how it is, because when we accomplish that, we then begin recruiting on reputation. When you start recruiting on reputation and then you build a team like this and you empower your team to run that office, because it's their job to run the day-to-day. When you empower your team to do that, then you suddenly retain on leadership. You're not developing the apathy that you see take place in so many agencies, because you hear them say one thing, but then they do something completely different. What we say is what we're going to do, and we're going to deliver on that.